My name is Dave Zirin, and I grew up hyper obsessed with sports, particularly sports in the New York scene where I grew up. I grew up in New York City, and my room was like a shrine to the New York City stars of that time. I mean, people like Keith Hernandez, Darryl Strawberry, Lawrence Taylor, Dwight Gooden. I mean, I didn't know at the time all those guys had serious cocaine problems, but you know, that's all good. I love those guys. They were larger than life for me, and I love sports, and I never really spent 2 seconds thinking about politics. I wanted to do this documentary so much because I was going out a lot and speaking, and what I found as I was doing these talks was it's one thing for me to read a speech by Muhammad Ali, and I'll even do my best Ali impression and go, ah, and all the rest of it. It's another thing to see the man himself. The same way seeing the movie Ali with Will Smith, to me, was such a bitter disappointment. And it took me a long time to realize why I hated that movie so much. And at the end of the day, I realized, you know, Will Smith at his most charismatic is no Muhammad Ali.
When one man of popularity can let the world know the problem, he might lose a few dollars himself telling the truth, might lose his life, but he's helping millions. I just love the freedom and the flesh and blood of my people more so than I do the money. You can take his show and play it right in Washington, let Nixon hear it.
I was the starting center, believe it or not, for my high school basketball team. I'm 5'10", we weren't very good, and I never thought about politics, but that really changed for me in 1991. I was in high school at the time. My best friend on the team was a kid named Ari. So one day Ari said, look, I'm not going to practice because I'm going to an anti-war protest. And I still remember, like it was yesterday, taking him aside and being like, you're going to an anti-war protest, man, where are your priorities? And he went to this protest and got in a confrontation with one of New York City's finest and was hit across the leg with a police baton and was put in the hospital. For the first time, I was thinking about the war, I was thinking about courage in terms of going out and speaking about what you believe in, things that I'd never thought. To me, courage was always, you know, you play at a court in the South Bronx, was courage.
All we ask for is equal chance to be a human being. And as far as I see now, we're 5 steps below the ladder. And every time we try and touch the ladder, they put their foot on our hands and don't want us to climb up.
This story is more about the fact that after all this happened with my friend Ari, I went to a game at Madison Square Garden. It was a college game. And remember, this is during the Gulf War. And the halftime show involved somebody in an Arab costume getting beat up at half court by one of the mascots, while the Jumbotron got everybody to chant, USA, USA. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, sports are evil. Like, I hated sports at that moment. Like, have you ever had a friend who became a vegetarian and then overnight they just wouldn't touch meat and were like lecturing to you about not eating meat? That was like me. Like, sports was my McRib, and I wanted no part of it. And then in 1996, a player for the Denver Nuggets named Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, he made the decision that he wasn't going to come out to games before the national anthem. And it went to a whole nother level when a reporter asked Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, they said, how can you do this? Because don't you realize that that flag is a symbol of freedom and democracy throughout the world? And Rauf responded, well, it may be a symbol of freedom and democracy to some, but it's a symbol of oppression and tyranny to others. Now, when he said that, it was like the sporting world imploded. It was like ESPN was like, Rauf spits on the flag, booyah, din-in-it, din-in-it. And I remember one of the commentators saying in a very dismissive voice, well, Rauf must see himself as one of those activist athletes. Activist athlete? What the hell is that? Keeping our mouths shut in the face of injustice may help us make fun of others and silence them and assure that we stay popular with the keepers of normality. But real courage means standing up when it's not popular, and real men and real women don't ask permission to raise their fists. I don't think that corporations using sports to preach their political doctrine, or politicians, or the Pentagon using sports to push their political doctrine is evil. But I do think it's real, and it's unacknowledged, and that's what bothers me more than anything else. It's that we're taught so from the first time that we get into sports, we're taught what Howard Cosell called rule number 1 of the jockocracy, that sports and politics don't mix.
Do you think that sports people should take more of a political view?
No, I don't.
You can believe that sports and politics don't mix the same way you can believe that gravity doesn't exist. It's not going to help you when you fall out of an airplane. So I really do believe that sports should not be rejected, it should be reclaimed, and that athletes who dare speak out, I think their cause is something that should be supported. And that's what I've devoted myself to doing, and that's what the documentary, Not Just a Game, is all about.